From the Blue Ridge Parkway to the top of Donner Pass. From the bottom of Cabbage to the Salt Flats in Utah. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. Christian and Kumar. How's it going, everybody?
What's up? And you are...
The band is back together. Reunion show.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah. I figured I'd add that with Deaton and Doty and Christian and Kumar. You guys have done a great job carrying us through.
Since I couldn't read off a teleprompter, Kumar gets all the credit. So
yeah,
he did an awesome job.
Well, welcome to episode Double Nickel 55. Joining us for episode 55 is Ray, as always, Jim Mackey, Kevin. Nate is at home and he couldn't make it tonight. Trucking news with Kumar. Ian is out. Freight market update with Doty and Christian and myself. Wide World of Sports with Joel Howell. And the driver's battle, Kumar, and trucking questions with Kumar. And on that note, we have some crickets in-house. I sent some pictures of for you guys that aren't in studio, a close-up of them. They're pretty gross looking. They are sour cream and onion flavored crickets. I tried to get Kumar to eat them if he loses, but he did it the last time a year ago and gagged. So I will eat the crickets if the drivers lose the questions with Kumar, and Mike Doty will pay the St. Christopher Fund. And if the drivers beat Kumar in questions with Kumar, Christian will pay. We'll mail him the crickets, and he'll eat them on a later show.
Mail him the crickets.
So here we go. And drivers, bring it strong. Ray, Jim, and Kevin, don't leave me hanging here. We want to mail these to Christian.
Absolutely.
Also, thank you, Grizz, for
remember Joel came up with these questions. So.
Oh, thank Grizz at Meadowlark for the crickets. She sent them.
She sent them along with the spicy candy that she has.
Yeah. So I like Mexican candy. I had it for the first time at Mark Chavez's daughter's quinceañera. Is that what that was? I think.
Yeah. Ray, can you weigh in on that?
Something like that. About a few years ago. Anyway, so Ray, where are you at? What's your 20?
Yeah, I'm at home sitting in San Antonio.
Oh, in the floaty?
Not yet. Actually, I was thinking about getting a jet ski. I was thinking about getting a jet ski like the ones you guys had over in the Keys and probably putting it in my pool. There's not that many waves here.
Jeez. Yeah, when we were on vacation, my son Matthew and Tina and I rented some jet skis. I was telling Mike earlier. And Tina rode on the back with me, and we went 27 miles around the Keys, around Key West. And out in the ocean, it was brutal, and it was rough. And when we got, I was okay with it. I was just hanging on for life, but when we got back, Tina and Matthew said they will never go on a jet ski in the ocean again. So, and then I tried to get them to jump out of an airplane with me the next day, but their thrill rides were done, and I was going to do it, but it was really windy the next day, so it didn't happen. So
you ended up in Texas?
Yeah, I ended up in Texas. But so Joel and Ian and myself, and I don't know if Kumar was in on this, but they said if I didn't do it in Key West that they would go with me here in Ohio. And
I'm not in on that.
Okay,
no.
Well, Joel and Ian are definitely in.
So he's not doing the crickets or the...
We're going to eat crickets and jump out of a plane here soon.
I value my life. So.
We'll do it both the same day.
Yeah. Guys, it's good to be back on the show. I missed doing the show. Had some family things I had to take care of, and so that just had to be the way it was. But you guys did a great job. I've watched the shows, and I really appreciate the work that you put in. So, Mackie, where are you at?
I'm at home, getting ready for the Texas Youth Expo.
That's right. The Texas Youth Expo happens every year. It's where we went last year about this time. Jim's brother, Mike, puts it on. It's a great thing for the kids down there. And I learned a lot. Didn't you, Kumar, last year?
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty cool walking around, and these cattle are like worth a lot of money. Some of them sell for $50,000, $60,000 a head.
Yeah, we just sold a calf on auction last week for $21,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
And being from Cleveland, Ohio, it was a trip.
Yeah, what makes the cattle different prices? What makes a cattle so expensive?
The quality.
Is it?
the show quality, the breed, and
9
everything.
miles to the gallon.
They get 9 miles to the gallon.
Oh, hey, by the way, while you're talking to me here,
Yeah.
Texas Youth Expo is donating $100 to the St. Christopher's Fund.
Oh, write that down,
Awesome.
Kumar. That's
I will.
awesome. Yeah,
And we will get a check out to you here just as soon as we can.
that's great. That's great. And we also donated from the Talking Trucking show. So Mike said he'll send us a picture of the banner they put up that says Talkin Truckin. It's actually the logo, Christian, that you designed. So that's what we sent him.
Excellent.
So that'll be cool. It's it was nice for us. It was nice that we were able to donate to a great cause like that, Texas Youth Expo. Kevin, where are you?
I'm at home this
Everybody's at home. No wonder we're not making any money this week.
Well, they all want to be like you, Russ. They just took a couple weeks off.
So, Kevin, you're not in the floaty like Ray, are you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I told Kevin that we were going to send him one of those kiddie pools from Walmart and a floaty so we can get a picture of that for next week.
And a case of water so you can fill it up.
A case of water, yeah. And as always, in studio, our producer, Zach Kern.
Hello.
On screen, Christian Sneed from Roanoke, Virginia. Mike Doty, the original Florida man from Tarpon Springs. It's the first time I got the city you're from down there, Mike. Correct. And Joel Howell on sports. I really was disappointed that we didn't get to go over the draft week, right before the draft this year. But something really cool happened. So everybody knows I'm a huge Browns fan. So
Really?
Yeah. So whatever.
I was the Bengals.
So
Steelers fan.
right after the draft, I think I might have texted Christian on Sunday. Joel texted me right away.
Yep.
The last pick that the Browns took was a center out of Texas Tech University. His name was Dawson Deaton. And we were just – and first of all, let me just say this. I've never met a Deaton that I wasn't related to. It's not a common last name. And so that was just funny to me. And then, we do the show. It's, Dawson Truck Lines, Deaton Trucking, and, it's just Dawson Deaton. I even sent that to Nikki Bissett with this picture. She was dying laughing too, Christian. But
Awesome.
So –
No, he has to make the team.
well, so yeah, so he will. They need a center. All we have is Nick Harris. I don't know what happened with J.C. Treader, but he'll end up being the starting center probably halfway through the year, would be my guess. So on Monday evening, I started looking online and I found his number, and so
Found his agent.
yeah, so. And this kid just got drafted and everything, so I called him, and he didn't answer. And then immediately, like 30 seconds later, my phone rings. I'm sitting on my front porch, and it says Dawson Deaton on my phone. And I answered, and I said, hello.
You've been traded.
Yeah. I'm like, you've been cut. But no, and so I was so shocked that he called back. And so I told him, I said,
Russ, you think you were shocked? He got a call from you for a trucking podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Probably his first press conference.
So I said to him, I said, look, man, this is going to sound strange. I said, my name is Russ Deaton, and I've never met a Deaton that I'm not related to. So this was odd when I saw that you were drafted. And I said, I'm right. I'm from Cleveland, and I own a trucking company here. It's named Deaton Trucking. And I said, also, we do a podcast called Talkin Truckin. And I said, so with Dean and Doty, and I said, do you know Louis Vasquez? And he said, oh, yeah, I know Louis, which I knew he did because Louis and him both graduated from Texas Tech. And Louis is a legend at Texas Tech,
Look at you name dropping. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So, and then I
Louis
proceeded.
Vasquez?
He was in the third grade when Vasquez graduated.
I told him, he said, oh, yeah, I know Louis. Yeah, everybody knows Louis down here. It's like probably his hero, and they play the same position. Basically, he's a interior offensive lineman, so he can play Louis' positions or center, and that's one reason they drafted him. But so I invited him on the show, soon. He gave me his email, and I said, I'll email you the link, and I'll text you the link to our show. And I sent him the link the last time Louis was on, and he thought that was cool. And then I got a hold of Louis and let him know. Louis thought it was great too, and he's like, just let me know when he's coming on, and he'll come on with him, and we can talk about both draft experiences. So I thought it was wild.
I got a good idea. We should grab their stats and have like Kumar guess which stats were which one when they played at Texas Tech.
At Texas Tech, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think I gotta believe
the most penalties.
I gotta believe Louis. You'll probably get it because Louis' stats were pretty incredible coming out of college.
And Joel mix it up, like you said. Maybe it's whoever had the most flags or most unnecessary roughness calls.
They won't even know. We'll just Did you know that you had?
So coming soon, sports fans. I'm gonna stay on top of this, and Louis is in with me. That's Ray's cousin. Everybody, if you don't know, Louis Vasquez, Super Bowl champion.
Can you imagine? Just hypothetically, for a joke, if he got cut and he's like, "Well, man, what do you think about playing the NFL?" The oddest thing happened. This guy Russ Deaton called me.
Man. I thought about it for a couple of days because I was like, I don't even know why he answered the phone.
Thought you were Jimmy Haslam.
But
he's like,
if my number's not saved in your phone, it'll show my name. So he probably saw the last name. That's the only thing I can think.
He thought it was Tom Brady. He's like,
oh wow,
that rich long lost cousin.
Yeah.
Or you got drafted. I want some money. My name's Deaton.
Yeah. But anyway, he might have saw the area code up here and thought it's the Browns calling to arrange his travel because he had to be the next day. He had to be in Cleveland for their, like remember when Louis said as soon as he got drafted, immediately he had to fly to San Diego and they started working him out. So that happened. But and then I emailed him a follow-up email and thanked him for taking my call or calling me back, and I sent that to you guys and Christian. We all got a kick out of that. But anyway, good to be back on Talkin Truckin.
In touch with him, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna. You know me, guys. I was trying to get Mike Tyson on the phone on the show. I'll settle for the center for the Cleveland Browns, Dawson Deaton.
I'll be Vander Holyfield.
So before we get into, do you have my clip ready?
I do.
Mike, can you go over this clip with us and explain exactly what happened down at Fish Stalkers this week? We're really curious. So this is at Fish Stalkers. And so
are we legally allowed to play this?
Yeah, it's video footage of Mike's bait shop. Let's go. Tell us what happened, Mike.
No, so that's my oldest son. He's getting this guy. This guy's come in a few times to get some stuff. Oh, there he goes. See him putting it right in his pocket.
Rewind that. Yeah. Watch the guy's hands at the counter.
He's slick. And watch where my son, he'll be back. He's just dropping it in his pocket when.
There's the hand.
There's the hand.
Yeah.
What did he steal? What is it?
It was just a bottle of Procure. It's just a scent you put on some artificial lures.
Yeah,
some fish.
He needed cologne for his date that night.
Stop right here. Stop right here. Look at Mike's son. I thought it was Mike at first.
Yeah, Mike. I was like,
he lost a bunch of weight.
He lose 100 pounds that quick.
Mike looks. His son looks exactly like Mike. It's funny.
Yeah, he's got a couple inches on me though.
That poor kid.
But so what's going on down there, Mike? You got a theft problem at the counter?
No, well,
there's his face.
You can tell, like you can tell he's one of those dudes he's probably done it 1,000 times. Every time he pays, every time he's at a counter, he probably grabs a lighter or something off a convenience store counter and puts it in his pocket. One
he's
of those guys that just can't help himself. So here's an update. He came in yesterday.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I was here, and there was two kids.
Were you there, Mike, in the office?
Oh yeah,
working.
Oh yeah, okay. I was out. Oh, God. My youngest son was out there, and I had walked out there because there was a couple kids out there, and I was getting them some pinfish because they live in the neighborhood out back, so they'll pay for like a dozen shrimp, but I'll give them some extra stuff because they're going fishing and stuff or whatever. Yeah. But so I was getting them some stuff, and then I look up and I look at the dude standing behind the kids, and I look over at my son, and my son just shakes his head, because I was standing, my son was standing at where, behind the counter there, and then I was over where the bait is. There's another little window over there where that Coca-Cola sign is, right above that. So I was standing over there, and I just looked over at my youngest son. He just nodded his head, and I was like, so I'm waiting for the kids. The kids are talking, and I'm waiting for him to leave. And then the guy asked my son for a bag of frozen shrimp because that's usually all he gets. And my son goes, "You got that bottle of Procure you stole?" And then and he's like, "Yeah, it's in my car." And then I kind of lost it. I told him if these kids weren't in here, I'd lock the door and he wouldn't be fucking leaving.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, there goes an air horn.
And then I had to apologize to the kids, and they're looking, they're kind of between. He's standing on the other side of them, and I'm standing in that window, and then they're kind of looking at him and looking at me like, "What's going on right now?" They were probably 12. They weren't that young. They were probably 10, 12 years old, 13 years old. But I was like, "Sorry, kids, he stole from us."
Was it words? Was it words only?
Yeah.
So did he return it, Mike? Did he go in his car and get it?
No, we told him to get out of there. Tyler, he put his money on the counter for shrimp, and Tyler took it and put it in his pocket and didn't give it back to him. told him to get out of here.
Keep the change.
Did you tell him
we got
to
our money for it?
Stick what he stole up his air horn?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cut off. That's it.
Yeah. Told him don't come back. But
how did you catch that? Was it coincidence? You looked down and
no. What happened was my oldest son came in from going to get pinfish, and he pulls up with the boat on the side, and he walks in, and he's like, "Oh, did someone buy a bottle of that Procure?" And I'm like, "No." I'm always in my office in the back, and my other son, he was like, "No." And then immediately I go, "You didn't ring it up, probably." I was blaming him for giving it away.
Nice.
And so they start going back and looking at the video, and then they found this.
Wow. Is that the first time, Mike, that you found any footage of someone stealing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is that stuff?
It's like $5, $6.
Yeah. Wow. Well, anyway,
it's just a principle.
It's the principle, yeah. And that's the, Mike sent it to me, and so that's the update on Fish Stalkers.
Mike, on a side note, I really wish you put your hands on him, because then we could have had you read the Florida news with you in it. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. I told
man beats up customer over $5 bait.
odor spray.
I told somebody I'm gonna have to put a reserve account aside for bail money and a lawyer owning this damn shop.
I think you told me that in a text, Mike.
Yeah.
Big fishnet, drop right on him.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, Mike. Hang a fishnet up at the top.
Yeah.
Like for a decoration,
Spider-Man.
and push a button, it falls when you just.
This ain't Fish Stealers, it's Fish Stalkers.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, there's your update.
I'm glad he came back
Florida
in. I knew he was going to come back in. He's been in a couple times. I think his girlfriend works down the road, and he brings her to work and buys a bag of shrimp.
Hold on. Hey, who's got the mouth noises going on?
It might be me.
Russ is eating hard candy.
I had a
It's
piece of hard candy.
Warming up
It's
with
not the
crickets.
crickets.
He's tasting
It
crickets.
might be my gum.
I'm trying to get ready for the crickets.
my gum juice not working very well today.
Saving that candy in his mouth so he can eat the crickets and the candy at the same time.
Ew.
Yeah. So I have a couple more pieces here ready for when I eat the crickets if I have to. So one thing I had ready to talk about last week, but I didn't make it. I've had some calls with drivers, not so much in the last few weeks because, like I said, I've had things going on and I've been out, but over the last few months where they got and I'm speaking of dry van, where you got loaded and you left, and there were several incidents where there wasn't a truck stop exactly nearby, and drivers, I've been in this situation as a driver. I know Joel's been in it, Ray, Kevin, and Mackie, and Doty. So this one driver had to go about 60 miles. He knew he could scale the weight. He I forget what it was. It was probably 44.5. He knew he could scale that much, but it was the way they loaded him. And so first thing I asked him, did you ask him how many pallets they were going to put on you when you checked in, when you knew that you were going in for a borderline making your axles way out? And he said, no, I didn't even think about it. I just thought, well, it cost you 60 miles, round trip 120, because he had to go back and get it reworked. And he did make it work. He just had to have them pull it out and stagger some pallets. So that way he had 2 and 1, 2 and 1 to center it a little bit more so he could get the weight off of his drives, bring it back some. And that was one thing I thought about that. Ray, do you know your weight of your truck, trailer, empty, full of fuel?
I sure do, and it's 34,600.
So, and this is pretty elementary though, but Christian, do you have a calculator in front of you? I don't.
I do.
80,000 minus 34.6.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray knows he can scale.
45.5, 45.4.
So he can scale 45.4. Reluctantly,
yeah,
but
I used to be, I used to be about 34,007 and change before I put my super singles back on.
Yeah,
with the duals.
So it dropped it a little bit, right? It dropped your gross.
Yeah.
So, and that was my point. As a driver, I think we need to know our empty weight full. And also, when you go in and you see that something is going to be borderline 44 or up, usually I would ask, how many pallets it is, because that'll give you if you know how many pallets. If they say 15 pallets, they're going to stuff it all in the nose. You're going to be heavy on the front. You're going to be heavy on your drives, and you won't be able to get under it enough with your tandems slid forward. So that was the one thing that I would ask Jim Mackey and Kevin. Kevin's a flatbed, but he's done van. But do you guys think along the same lines? If you see a load that's going to be borderline for you, are you interested in asking them when they're loading it how they're going to load it?
I do. Yeah, I do also. Yeah, but then of course I have an advantage too with this truck. I have a scales built into the truck for my drives.
My man. Hey, how accurate have you found
international,
that? Huh? How accurate have you found that those gauges to be for you, Jim?
Well, the thing is that the gauge is not accurate per se. Is saying that it's 34,000. Is what it's reading is 34,000. No, it's about 1,500 pounds light. Okay. So 34,000 is 32.5.
You know how to adjust.
Accurate. It's fairly accurate at that point. Yes.
Yeah, it's consistent. Good.
It's consistent to where I know where I'm at. But now recently I've changed trailers, and I've got a newer trailer, and it's about 400 to 500 pounds lighter than my old trailer was. So I'm still trying to get adjusted to that.
So do you hear that, Zach? When Ian gets back tomorrow, make sure you let him know that Jim can haul 400 or 500 pounds more than before.
What they do on that load, Russ? Did they load him in? Did they load him in the nose? Was he heavy on the drives?
Yeah,
because usually if it's heavy, when you're heavy, as long as you can get the tandems under it, you're good. What I mean? He
was. I forget. I don't have him in front of me, but he was way heavy on his drives. He was right at. I think he was right at 12.1 or something on his steers, and then he was way under on his tandems, and he had a slit all the way forward, his tandem, so he just couldn't get under it enough. And when he called me, that was the questions I asked, and I said, "Do you know how many pallets they put on?" And I believe it was 15. It might have been 13, but obviously that's not a lot of pallets, not really a full all the way back to the door load, but that whatever it was on there, it was heavy. So. And that's what I told him. I said, I would have asked if I knew that the load was going to be 44.5, and that's real close to, he's like, usually I can scale that. I said, well, that's when you need to ask how many pallets, and how are you going to stack it?
Yeah. Can I look in the back of the trailer?
Yeah, because ultimately you can, and you can check it out it's your responsibility because you got to transport it. So that was my question.
And you should anyways, because when you sign for the bills, you're signing that it's going to show up in that same condition. Sometimes if you have guys that don't look clearly, we've had guys that have had medical machines in the back, but then they had equipment on racks in the front. So the back, it looked secure, like, well, okay, it's on the ground. I don't need to secure it. But then the front, these things are just rolling all around in the trailer, and you show up and you have a $12,000 claim. So
right.
And then really, if the guy loading doesn't know how to load it, usually a lot of those places should know how to load 15 pallets, but that the guy loading probably did, just 2 rather than 1 2 1 2.
Well, that's exactly what they did. They just shoved it all as far up in the nose as they could, And he went back and they, and he had time on the load, so it didn't really hurt him. It cost him 120 miles, which, price of fuel probably cost him $100.
And about 5 hours worth of time. What was the compensation for him on that?
He did get some type of detention or something from, and it's someone we regularly work with. Okay. So it was no problem getting him a little extra. But it cost you time. And if you were on a tight load, he had time. It was a first come, first serve. He had time to do it. But still, it might have cost you the time. By the time you go back, you get reworked and you get going again, you get down the road, you're getting into a truck stop way later. So it might have affected you even just getting parking that night. Yeah. But that's just, I wanted to bring it up because we need to know when you walk into a shipper receiver. I guess it's sometimes I've had guys call me and have no idea what I'm talking about when they said they're overweight, they're at a truck stop. What do I do? And I said, same question. Did you ask them because you knew it was going to be close? Did you ask them how many pallets? Did you check to see how they, if it was all the way against the door, if it was all the way, forward? And they had no idea to do that. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. It doesn't mean that we don't know what we're doing. If, it just want to inform you if you got something that's going to be borderline, let's dig a little deeper while you're at the shipper. It could save you.
I think one thing that really
go ahead, Jim.
One thing that really makes me mad, an example is that here, I think it was last summer, I picked up a load in Pennsylvania, and it was like 40 pallets. They were all double stacked, the whole thing. Trailer was clear full and everything. I said, "You sure you got this voted right?" I mean, I was like 43.5 for weight. And I went out and I pulled ahead and I checked my scales. And I said, I went back in and I said, "Man, you got me like 3,000 pounds over on my drives." "Oh, no, we load them like this all the time, guys. You got to get a cat scale." Okay, well, I went like 20 miles with the cat scale. I scaled it, brought it back to them, and showed them the scale. "Well, okay, we'll rework it. We know what we got to do." Okay, so they reworked it and everything, and I pulled ahead, and they only changed it like 300 pounds. I went in there and told them, I said, "Man, you only changed it like 300 pounds. "Well, how do you know that?" Well, I explained to them I had a scale on my truck.
Yeah.
And they says, "Well, no, we know what we're doing." So I went back, I scaled it again. I brought it back to them, reworked it. I said, "Okay, now, this is what I told you was 300 pounds difference. Here it is. It's showing 300 pounds difference from the first time you loaded it to the second time you loaded it. Rework this and get it right, and I'll tell you if you're right." So then they reworked it and everything, and I pulled ahead and I checked it and everything. I said, "Okay, I'm happy now. We'll see you later." I left, I scaled it, and it was right.
And take it for an example, guys, of a driver that's been on the road for 90 years, Jim Mackey. No, not 90, 40, right, Jim? Almost 41.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 41, I think.
He knows when he's going to have an issue. I don't think I've ever had an issue with Jim where he couldn't handle it before and he knew when he goes and he leaves that he's going to be right when he hits the cat scale. And that just, sometimes it just comes with experience, but knowing your equipment, having the right equipment. Ray, do you have a gauge on your truck too? I think you do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So
is that the home gauge that tells him how far he is from home at all times?
Yeah, it's the air gauge to tell him how much air's in his floaty.
Yeah,
that's great.
So
I did buy some of them aftermarket gauges that you hook up to your airbags as well, but I haven't installed them yet. I've had them for over a year and I just haven't installed them.
Are those
I got
Bluetooth
one for the
ones,
trailer.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got one for the tractor and I got one for the trailer, but like I said, I just haven't had the time to install them.
Man, honestly, if you could get those things, if you get those dialed in and trust them enough not to get a cat scale, you could save quite a bit of money on some cat scales with those, and just calibrate them like once a month, make sure they're good.
Yeah,
but
I've looked into it, and they're accurate up to 200 pounds, and they do need to be calibrated once they're installed.
I know guys that solely rely on their gauge or gauges instead of going to a cat scale. They only scale if there's a scale on site that's free. You got to know your equipment again, and you got to know and make sure you're paying attention when they're loading you. But yeah, I've got some friends. I've got some guys on our fleet and some friends that aren't on our fleet that do that in flatbed. Speaking of flatbed, Kevin, so how do you do it? Speak to us about the flatbed. I only did flatbed for about 6 months. I knew how to center stuff when, you got to be involved when they're loading you, right, Kev?
Yeah, you got to be involved when they load you. I mean, I keep mine spread all the time, so I can't haul more weight on the back.
You can haul 20 and 20, right, on your back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got, my gauge in the truck tells me how much air's on my airbags on my truck. And I use that more if they're loading it towards the front. But I've had one time that I went across the scale in Georgia and I was over. But it was me and Nathan both. And they didn't start loading it where we told them to. And it was bricked. And in Georgia, you can't move your axles. The only thing you can do is move the load itself. And me and Nathan both said we're not getting out there moving bricks one brick at a time. So
yeah. How much over do you remember?
I was actually 1,900 pounds over, and Nathan was somewhere around 1,500 pounds over.
But were you under gross though? Is that what you mean?
We were still under gross. We were just over on our drives.
Did he let you go?
Yeah, with a ticket.
Oh.
So that's a no. That's a no.
I mean, he still let us go, but it cost me $93 for being 1,900 pounds over.
I came out of Ontario, Oregon. We used to haul onions, Joel. You remember that?
Yeah.
So we had a customer in Ontario, Oregon at the time. We were hauling onions. Certain times a year, they would let us haul them in a vented van. So I took the first load when I signed them up as a customer, and I started putting vents in all our vans and sending our guys up there. And so between Ontario, there's a truck stop in Ontario, Oregon, but it's over by the highway by 84, and there's a DOT scale house, a small one, Oregon DOT, literally a mile down the road from this farm, and there's no way to avoid it. So, and I saw it coming in. So, and I explained it to the guy up there at the farm. He said, we're pretty, we do this every day. We're loading, but it was the first part of the season where they were loading vented vans again, usually. And before that, they were putting them on reefers, and then they started, I think it was fall. They started putting them on vented vans.
I hauled some of those too. I know what you're talking about, Russ.
Yeah, you hauled out of there too. So you remember the scale house?
Yeah, we got it vetted.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, well, I think I'm right. I think I trusted the guy too. So he put him in there, and I went across that scale, and the lady called me in, and I was like, ugh. I saw it. I think it was my drives were 700 pounds over. That's what it was.
Yeah, because they got that number where you could see it. They could see where your weight
you could see it
on the outside. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's a single scale, so you put your if I remember, it was years ago, but
steer. Yeah.
You put your steer on, then you put your drives on, then you put your tandems on. So as soon as I put the drives on, 34.7, and I was like, ugh. And I didn't even scale the other. No, I did. And then she gave me the red light to come in. I came in, and she said, "Where's your Oregon permit?" And I said, "Oh, I got it right here." And I pulled it out of my book, and she goes, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Next time, I said, "This is my first time, new customer." She goes, "Next time, put it in your window," because I had the temporary.
You thought you were busted.
Yeah, I did. And she said, "Put it in your passenger side window, and I can see it from my window in here, and I won't bring you in." So here, and then I'm so curious because I knew I was over 700 pounds. So I asked her after she was letting me go. I said, curiously, I just want to know because I'm going to be coming back. And I wanted to know the truth. I'm coming up here. She knew right where I was loading at. And I said, I'm 700 over. I'm under gross, barely. And she said, nah, we don't usually bother you unless you get about 900,000 pounds. That's pretty much when we're going to bother you. Doesn't mean everybody's like that. This was Oregon DOT right by the farm. But
yeah,
then I kind of was kicking myself because for a second I thought she was going to give me a hard time about it when I asked. I should have just left, but she didn't. She was real nice. Did you ever have any problems there, Nate? Or I'm sorry, Ray, when you came out of there?
Yeah. When I went over that scale, I was actually heavy on the tandems. I was actually about 800 pounds over on the tandems. I was good on. I was under 80,000 pounds.
Yeah.
But I was like 79. I was about maybe 150 to 200 pounds at the most over, fluctuating with the 80,000 pound. And she told me I was good, that I wouldn't bother her, but she did say that it's a lady that works at that scale.
Yeah.
And but she did tell me that they have an 800-pound tolerance in the state of Oregon. But she said the further east you go, that changes. It gets less and less the further east. So she told me I recommend you going back and have them take off a few bags, because she already knew the way they work. They're not going to take a pallet off. They're just going to take bags off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's exactly what I did. I went back and I don't know how many bags it was they took off, but when I came across, I was perfect on all my axles. I was good on all my axles.
I didn't go back, and I burned fuel. I was full when I went across there, but I burned fuel, and then I ran the rest of the trip. I think I was running at night too, because I was going all the way to Boston, so I switched the way I was running. I'm pretty sure I was just a little scared.
Yeah.
But I burned fuel down, and I stayed.
But see, I would have done the same thing.
Quarter of a tank that was fueling all the time.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing too. But you were heavy on your drives, and
Right.
I was heavy on my tandem. So there was nothing I could do, and I think that's why she told me that, because I could burn fuel, and that's not going to help me anything on my tandems.
Right. You're not.
So she told me I'd recommend
weight.
you go back. Yeah, she said in the state of Oregon, you're fine. You know, they got an 800-pound tolerance. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
but
basically what she told me.
yeah, so she thought I would go back and have them take a few bags off. And when I went back, it was a headache. They didn't want to take off any bags.
Yeah,
because I was under 80,000. They made a big deal about it. I actually stayed there for an extra 2 hours because they were arguing back and forth whether to take them bags off or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big deal.
But ultimately, you're the driver, you're the pilot of that ship, and you got to go across the country with it. They either take the 2 bags off or whatever they need to take off, or they take the whole load off if you're not comfortable with it, and that's really how it works. So you don't have to be intimidated.
And they were real tall pallets, so it was about.
I remember, yeah,
it was about half a pallet that they had to take off. Yeah, and I remember they were contemplating taking the whole load off of me, saying that, well, if you can't haul our weight, then you can't haul our freight. You know, that's basically what they were telling me. And then ultimately, they ended up taking some weight off the tail end.
So Christian, we went into this, and I think you got something set up to go over, and I think it will tie right into what we're talking about here.
I do, yeah. It'll be kind of reverse order. I have to come back to where we're at, but yes, I do.
Okay, let's do it.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. I don't have my.
Everybody can see this, right?
Gotta get your readers on.
Oh, what are those Costas?
I know that guy.
They're my prescription. I don't have my prescription. These are prescription, but I don't have my other prescriptions here.
Aren't you
By the way,
cool?
that's Mr. Selby on our fleet, the legend.
That was the last time he took a load.
That was in 1970.
So Russ, I know you and I got together on the phone, and we're talking about how market conditions are changing, fuel surcharge, and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So we talked about, how can we be concerned with just the things that we can control? So I think you made a very good point. As we're talking, there's certain things we can't control: fuel prices, right? Equipment prices, freight lanes, a lot of those things. And we can get into a discussion about that as well in a minute. But I put together some quotes which I felt were applicable. When these things happen, we tend to get into a mindset where we get bothered by the things that we can't control because it's a stressful event. And so the first one is, if you can't do anything about it, you don't need to worry about it. And I think that's pretty powerful. It's a little harder to do.
It is.
Easier read than said. Don't worry about the things in your life that you have no control over. Instead, focus your energy on the things that you can change. Being positive and confident keep us from looking forward instead of always looking backwards.
Before you go forward, on that note, and this is something I've told my sons, and Matthew edits this, he'll know. I've told them their whole lives, positive thoughts bring positive results, and it's just something that was told to me a long time ago, and it works. It's kept me out of trouble. It's kept me kind of focused on the things that keep me going forward. Go ahead, Christian.
That's great. Yeah.
Can I give another quote?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't sweat the petty stuff, and also don't pet the sweaty stuff. That's what I live by. Anyways.
Wow.
That's good.
That's the first time I heard that. That's good.
Don't eat the crickets.
So when I was growing up, Russ, my folks had a similar, my mother in general, it said, your attitude will determine your altitude. And that's something that I know that you can see on the side of cars now, but back in the 90s, I had no idea what it meant at the time for some things that we were going through. And myself, I was going through, but it was, it definitely, it's true. Your attitude does determine your altitude.
This
is a pretty fun TikTok meme that goes around that said, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. You guys can guess where we fit right in that right now, economically and otherwise. But I think it's very true that, if you're tested and you're sharpened during hard times and you get through it, you're going to learn from it and you're going to be better because of it. As far as transportation goes, this is Bill Murray and Groundhog's Day. We talk about it, how trucking is secular. We look at it on an annualized basis. Russ, you and I talked about it earlier this year when fuel prices started going up. And we said, if freight starts to drop, it's going to look a lot like 2008. The cycles are not always within a 1 or 5 year period. There are a lot of things that are different now, just like the housing market, that should be in our favor for trucking. Some of that is when we get, Shanghai and some other things opened up. But remember, guys, this too shall pass, right? They're just stressful moments. Another thing that we say here on the show is facts are our friends, and that's how we can gauge things. But you have to remember that if you bring facts into a situation, things fade away. So fear fades when facts are faced. So if you're going through a hard time, don't just stress out about it and get emotional, but actually, go through your profit and loss statement, go through your receipts, and look at things from a different vantage point as far as what you can change inside your operation.
Well,
and when
also, Christian,
go ahead.
On that, but before you, because I like to look at, situation not just this week or not just this month, but if you take in, 3 months, 6 months, and I do go back a year and look at, so maybe, we've had a tough time and we're fighting for every penny we can get on loads. We're trying to drive the trucks a little different so we can save everywhere we can save. But also, you're, it's the things that you change when you're faced with adversity or, differences in the market. Those little things that save you a little bit, they add up. And then you look at things over that whole year where, come on, guys, the last couple of years we've been, you heard me on the show say when the sun's shining, it's time to make the hay. And, that's really what it was about. Everybody did good. Everybody did great for the last couple of years. So if you add in a few months of, hey, it's not as great as it was last year, and you look at it over a bigger, time frame, and it'll change.
Yeah. And I would also add, Russ, to look at your habits, right? What were we doing when we were successful, even outside the market? Because a lot of times when we don't get hungry enough, then, we start to starve. And that's not the case. A lot of it are environmental and non-controlling factors, but we also have to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to the same standard. When you stop worrying about what you can't control, you'll have time to change the things that you can. And that is true. I was complaining earlier, and Joy in my office remind me that, the time you're spending on the phone with me right now, you could solve this problem. And I think having people like that in your corner to make sure that they can redirect you away from just, negative talk, which brings to the next point from Fred Tiger, which is be a good listener. Your ears will never get you into trouble. A lot of times our mouths will. And this one, I think, I don't know, I want to call my dad a liar, but when I was going through this, I was pretty disappointed. My father always used this line growing up. If you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves.
Yep.
If you watch the small problems, the big problem will resolve itself. And I'm really disappointed because it said Benjamin Franklin all over the internet. I was like, I never knew that he took this quote from someone else, and it was everywhere. I'm like, I must look like an idiot when I say my father used to say, because everybody's gonna be like, hey, you moron, that was Benjamin Franklin.
Well, my dad used to say the same thing too.
Okay.
And I thought it was his thing. So
yeah. Well,
now we know.
Great. Yeah, that's it. It just ruined my bedtime stories as a kid, but no big deal. And then controlling your future. So the one thing we want to do is be mindful and think outside the box, right? Small things. Where am I fueling at? What type of fuel am I getting? Where am I getting it from? Looking at the state cent per gallon, changing your air filters and even your DPF filters, for fuel mileage, looking at what your idle times are, looking at preventative maintenance, routing, tolls. But sometimes thinking outside the box is also a finance thing. And I've got one gentleman that I'm helping with right now in our fleet who wants to refinance his truck. He said, look, I have a high truck payment. I didn't have the greatest credit. I got into a situation, my payments are high, but within the last 12 months, because of the market and our dispatch team, I'm able to get out of that position because I've raised my credit score, I've paid off my debts. He said, I'd like to go ahead and refinance the truck at a lower interest rate and a better term. So it's terms and pricing. And just for some people that might be trying to buy your own equipment. Right now you're going to be paying $55,000 to $60,000 for a dry van from any manufacturer. So I'm not saying that's the way to go, but perhaps that could lower your cost if it's a long-term purchase over 5 or 6 year span. But if you can eliminate a lot of these small costs, then you can eliminate a bigger headache. And lastly, this is kind of what we talked about earlier. You guys kind of have a spoiler alert. So tools for the trade. One of the things we were talking about will be the second slide. But these are the things, and I love discussion from the guys, the highwaymen here, to find out if you have these on board, if you've heard of them, and if you think they're worth anything. So we talked about the scales on the truck. This one's different. This is a tire pressure monitor system. Does anybody have their Bluetooth system hooked up so this way they know what the tire pressure is in their truck?
Do you, Ray? Or
I don't, but I am looking into getting one. I just need to get my truck back from the shop first.
I was looking at those too.
I'm wanting to get one myself.
Yeah, and they have really cool ones now in a fleet program where if you're a fleet manager or small business owner, you can put them on all your trucks and monitor it at all times. So this way,
it's Bluetooth. So how does that work? Do you have any idea?
So this syncs up to the device inside the truck. There are ones that sync up into a device that communicates that information to a website and or your transportation management software. Okay. So this way you'll get an alert that says, hey, this tire is now below 110 PSI or whatever those thresholds are on. This is just one I picked up.
Tire pressure is a huge thing with fuel mileage, and we all know that.
It is.
How much is that system? Does anyone have any idea?
I can look that one up. I can look it up once we get done with this.
Okay, and what was the next one, Christian?
So the next one's one that, there's the last piece. So the next one's one we already talked about. This is Blue Ink. That's this specific manufacturer that's showing here. It's scaling loads. It talks about time and money conversion, what's your ROI, and all the other great hidden costs of trucking. But it's true. If you did 120 miles out, like Russ said earlier, and 120 miles back, and you have an hour to rework the load, there's 5 hours worth of time. It's great that you get $150 or $250, whatever it is that, you're working with someone you work all the time and stuff happens, but that's still real money out of your pocket. Your brakes don't wear any less. Your fuel doesn't, stay inside the tank when you're running, and your time is valuable and it's worth something. So this is something, and these have been incredibly accurate. We've got a similar set of scales to Jim on our Kenworth, but these are things that are more application based. And they are supposed to be wildly accurate as far as the weight. What I loved about Jim was even though it was off, he's figured that out and he's calculated the consistency of the scales. And, Ray, I don't know, let me know when you unpack it out the box and put it in the truck. But I think I'd love to hear some feedback that on the system that you have. Is this the system that you have, Ray? The Blue Ink, do you know? Is it for your phone?
It looks like that. It's not the Blue Ink, though. I have a different one. Okay. And I did a whole bunch of research, and the Blue Ink, I wrote that one out. I can't remember why, but I can send you the one that I have. If you want, whenever I get a chance, I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That other one you showed was that tire pressure one. That was $300. I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it is. It's less than I thought.
Yeah. Kevin, do you have this on board?
I've actually got that set right there, but I haven't installed them yet.
Okay. Well, we got a whole lot of stuff sitting at the house. I like it.
And everybody's at the house.
Now, I thought this was a dumb question when I brought this up, but then I know there's some guys that don't roll with it. I think Jim mentioned there'd be a lot less accidents. I think it was Jim that mentioned it. Right. So there'd be a lot less accidents on the road if it was a requirement to have a CB radio on a truck.
I think it's so important. I always had one that was the first thing I would install. And I can't tell you how many times you're coming up over a hill and you get you hear somebody on there saying, hey, there's a backup at mile marker or whatever. And ahead of time you can start backing it down.
Well, not only that saved me. I've done that. And when I've heard that, I've got on my GPS and
got off the highway.
Well, you can hit a button on your GPS that says, what is it? Reroute next 10 miles or whatever. Yeah. And it'll take you around, if you don't know the area, obviously, whatever, it'll take you around the next 10 miles or 20 miles. You can route yourself around. So yeah, that I did that a bunch with the CB when I would hear that there was an accident coming up, and I very rarely talked on it, but I would keep it on, and I'd just let guys know when I saw the police
I did the same.
Or whatever.
I did talk on it a lot though, even when Joel and I were teaming. You get bored driving.
It's a sense of entertainment too, right?
Yeah, I'd get them going out there. It was funny.
Yeah, I think that was very wise of Jim to say that back then too. It's very true.
Yeah.
Some other things which might be a little less. So this is, the tire checker, so to speak. It's funny. We had a safety meeting about 5-6 years ago. GCR, which was then White's Tire, which is now another tire company. One of the gentlemen had said, hey, can you tell how much pressure's in this tire just by looking at it? And it was a question that was not meant to be answered. And the gentleman said, yeah, I can get my bat out and I can tell you exactly if it's flat or not. And he said, and all of a sudden everybody started bringing out their swords and sword fighting. And the next thing you know he's like, well, I bet you can't tell me within 5 pounds. And all of a sudden he got a little quiet. He said, and that's all it takes to wear down your tires, 5 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think it's good. It's fun to see those things. It's great to have next to the seat inside your truck. If you don't like to carry firearms, take that comment however you will. But I think it is necessary to make sure you do check your tire pressure. I definitely go with the electronic gauges over the consistency of the bat.
Yeah, well, and it's multi-use, like Christian said, just in case you're parked in West Memphis, Arkansas.
There was a there was a news story about a guy who was checking his tire pressure, and he used like a tire pressure like hammer. I don't know, but he hit the tire, and he said that the hammer flew back and broke the window of this vape store, and they found a bunch of stolen items.
Oh, wow. And it's used for law enforcement too.
Yeah. So it was a mallet, and I don't think that was a hammer. It sounds like a criminal.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I sent you a text, and the name of that brand of the weight scales that you can install on your trucks, it's Appway.
Appway, there it is. Yep, looks like a pack of gum.
Yep. You just roll your tire right up on it. And
there it is. Appway.
Oh, that's funny. Cool. So, hey, real quick, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
I had a student, and he also came to work for us later when I was a trainer. And they had just come out with the CAT scale app. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so literally this guy, he was pretty country too. He said, all right. I said, they got the CAT scale app. Why don't you download that and use it? And he said, okay. And we got to a truck stop, and he goes, I got it. What do I do? And I said, well, take it out there, put it in front of the tire, about a foot, and then pull up slowly onto your phone. And he literally got out of the truck and went forward, and then turned around and come back, and he's like, you're kidding, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Oh,
that'd be great.
Okay, go ahead, Christian.
Hey, Kevin, have you ever used one of these open deck ladders that go into the rail on the side of your trailer to get up in it?
No, but I've wanted one.
Right. Well, you're a little vertically challenged too, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. There we go. We got a good Christmas gift coming for you this year. That'd be nice.
Dude, have you seen that picture with all of us with Russell at the
I have. Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I'm with all giants except for me and Kevin are about the same. And
I was getting so fat at one point. I was looking for those steps so I could get up in the driveway. Get up there to sweep that. I was like, man, it's hard to get up here.
They do have steps that fold down off the rear bumper too. By the way,
I know.
Okay, that's what you. Oh, you were serious.
Yeah,
that's great. So when I met Russ over there with the guys in Florida, he said, "This is my security team," and it took me a minute because I'm like, he's got to be screwing with me, right? But the guys were so huge. I'm like, no joke. Like I'm a big guy, I'm 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds, and I felt small, like, okay, that's great. He's got security detail. I'm not going to ask what mob he's a part of.
We had Doty, Nate was there. Who else was in that? It was Doty, Nate, myself,
me and Kevin,
and Ray, and Kevin. Yeah,
Kevin. It was, yeah. We were safe that night, unless 12 Marines walked in, we were in good shape.
Yeah.
So, or 2 Marines, but and then and you guys have a 5th wheel rod puller? Anybody?
Yeah,
I have one, but I don't need it
I
anymore.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, we use that to pull up the loading dock now. We used to have these. They were semi-tandem axle release tools. You put it in, and then when you get to your mark point, it pop out, from the tandem. You knew where to stop when you're pulling your tandem. So we used them. They're heavy, and then they just started getting left behind and lost, so we stopped using them. This next one's a pre-trip inspection tool. It measures the tire depth, both steer and drive. It also has a 3/4 inch piece for your windshield chips and things like that. So it does go in your keychain. It's pretty handy. They're cheap.
On my keychain for the longest time.
Yeah, they're pretty inexpensive. Here, has anybody used this plug? It's a tandem plug where you put it in your tandems, and that's where your tandems stop at because it can't move forward.
No.
So if you want to move up 5 holes, you literally put the plug in there, and then you just move it. And when it stops, you say, "Okay, I'm there." Those are good unless you're using an old trailer where it stops and everything.
And trying to hit the spot. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's I don't even know why I never knew that was a thing. That's great.
Yep.
No, that's pretty awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
And then we had the wheel chock.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yep.
So Joel has when we were training, actually, we were in the truck.
Enough of that.
I got to tell the story since we got Chalk Block. I gave him the handle and the nickname. So his handle on the road was Chalk Block. It was probably one of our first loads. We were in training years ago. And
I ran over the chalk block.
Yeah, so he puts the chalk blocks in. We've gotten the dock, and you have to chalk the tires.
Yeah.
And then it was like 2 hours on load time, and then Joel immediately just pulls forward, and we heard this big explosion, and he had ran over the tires with it, and it was the metal ones, I believe, and it popped the tire. And so instead of being there at the receiver 2 hours, we were there about 6 because we had to wait.
Me under the bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Safety.
How many years ago was this, Russ?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but we weren't even like, we only had a week's experience at that time. It was 3 guys in a truck, and that's a whole nother story.
And you're still bringing it up.
We rotated, yeah. So that's how Joel got his nickname, Chalk Block.
Yep.
Perfect. Speaking of 3 guys in a truck, did they ever I was seeing for a while there, they were putting like a 3rd bed in some of these trucks. Some of these big fleets were.
I don't know. I've heard of that, but I've never seen
for training.
That.
Yeah, they had that 3rd fold down bed. Imagine 3 people in a truck.
Well,
no,
I've never. Well, here's how they did it with us. What's that? Who is that?
What?
Awesome.
Somebody called in. We had a caller live. You're in the air.
I didn't know if that was little kids or if that was like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Clip that, please.
It's talking dirty.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
Wow.
Okay. So truck horns, Matt, Kumar. Anyway, so it's how we did it in the.
Oh my gosh.
3 guys in a truck. So we had a rotation where someone was always sleeping, someone was always driving, and then the trainer would either be sleeping because there was 2 bunks or in the front seat talking to us. So it was a rotation, and man, it was tight. We were in there for 30 days like that, Joel and I.
Oh, really?
The only way that could make it work, though, it was drop and hook, and it was team loads. So there was no stopping. It was pretty much you're always going. There's always somewhere to go, and it was cross the country. That's how they did it.
That's horrible.
It was horrible. That's how Joel and I got to become very good friends.
Just when we were all 3 sleeping at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I slept in the front seat. There was a couple times that there was no bed for me, and Joel's big guy, and this other guy was even bigger. And so I'm like, well, I guess I got to make the front seat
so
work.
good in there.
They were the only 2 that had anything in common.
Yeah.
Hey, the next one here is kingpin locks.
Yeah.
Not whether you guys have owned them, but has anybody busted one off?
I've not busted one. I
haven't
own
either.
one, but I've
Okay.
never had anybody bust one off. But I've also heard of when you have one on the kingpin, if you back underneath it, you'll lock you onto it.
Huh.
So wedge in there and lock you in. You can't get off of it.
And Ray, you say you have busted one off before?
No, I haven't had. I haven't busted one off, but somebody stole my trailer. They stole my Metal Lark trailer last year.
Oh, I remember.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, and the dude that stole the trailer busted the kingpin lock off of it that I had.
Yeah.
Mm.
He probably had a torch. That's what we came up with, right, Ray?
Yeah, we don't know because he threw the part of the lot into the weeds that were where I was parked at, and he also threw the tracking device that was on the Metal Lark trailer into the grass, into the field next door.
And they got it back by the next morning too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they keep honest people out. The locks in there are not super theft proof. So
no,
it's kind of like these plastic glide hand locks.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Plastic glide hand locks, I imagine most of you have used those at some point in time, or at least been provided them, whether you use them or not.
I have a metal one that you put a padlock in.
Do you? And then I have two of these last ones that I thought about, Ray, so I thought I'd share them. This first one is it's a Etsy perfectly decorated steering wheel tray. And Ray, if you don't have these, grilled cactus would be perfect.
Mariachi colors? I love the ones in mariachi colors.
I would move the coffee while I'm going down the road eating, though.
Yeah, if you're driving, a little bit.
Make sure it's a long, straight stretch.
And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of room for a big guy if you put one of those inside. We actually gave these out as Christmas giveaways to our guys one year, and everybody had them. And one guy loved it because he's like, I do my paperwork on it and I can eat. So
none of Russell's bodyguards, huh?
Yeah, his security team, or just move the chair back 12 inches. Either way.
Yeah.
What's that? Active trucker.
And the last is Ray Nieto's poolside picker-upper. I don't know if he's got one of these or not, but I think this way you can grab your cold beverage without getting out of your tube.
Grab the cat without getting out of the pool.
And guys, remember that this is an overload blitz. Joel, if you want to explain this, you can, but I only referenced it for the DOT blitz that's coming up.
Right.
So just make sure you guys are prepared because the DOT will be here next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Christian. That was good. It went right along with what I had to talk about. Joel, can we get into some sports and then we'll do questions and someone might have to eat crickets?
We also got to do news. That's the most important.
And we'll take it out with news.
So we're hurrying, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, what's up, guys? You heard him. No commercial. Here we are.
Episode 55.
Welcome back to the sports show that talks about sliding tandems, freight rates, and positive attitudes. I am Joel Howard, your host.
Sounds like a psychology session.
Rehearse that. Here we are in the first week of May and going around the league. Kicking off with some Major League Baseball in the American League East. Leaders, New York Yankees at 18-6. In the Central, Minnesota at 15-9. Out West, LA Angels leading at 15-9 in the National League. The Mets kicking some butt at 18-8. Milwaukee 16-8 in the Central, and out West the Dodgers are 15-7 early in the season. Over in the NBA, playoffs have started. 8 teams left. We have in the East Philadelphia and Miami. Miami with a 1-0 lead and a best of 7 4-7.
I didn't see. I thought Philly. Did they play? I thought they won one yesterday. But maybe I'm wrong. I haven't watched any sports in the last
unless they won last night. I've got it 1-0 Miami.
Yeah, I think it might be 1-1. But anyway, I could be wrong. I just read something on Bleacher Report about them winning.
They're not going to win that series.
I don't know. Don't count Philly out.
Golden State in Memphis. Out West, that series also at 1-1. Didn't tell you the other team in the East. Milwaukee and Boston knotted up at 1-1, and the other team in the West, Dallas and Phoenix. Phoenix leading 1-0 over in the NHL.
I like Milwaukee, Joel, coming out of the East.
Milwaukee in the East?
They own the East.
I don't know about that. Boston spanked them pretty good last night.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I got crickets on it.
Yeah. As you can see in the background, I got Jason up. That is honoring the NHL. Playoffs started Monday the 2nd. We got a ton of teams here also. I think we have 8 teams, 6. We have a bunch of teams.
Really good fight, too. If you guys have Bleacher Report,
oh yeah,
it was at the top. There was blood gushing, and the 2 guys, I don't even know who they are. I don't really watch hockey. But I saw that at lunch today. I hit Bleacher Report to catch up, and these guys were slugging it out, and there's blood flying. I was like, wow.
So Toronto-Tampa.
Yeah.
The other night.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, the baseball guys are jealous. They don't know what a good fight is. All right, but
teeth flying.
So we got Boston. Boston and Carolina leading that series 1-0. Toronto leading Tampa Bay 1-0 in that series. Best of 7. First series, round 1. St. Louis, Minnesota later, not started yet. LA Kings 1-0 lead over Edmonton. Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 lead over New York Rangers. Washington Capitals 1-0 lead over Florida. Colorado 1-0 lead over Nashville. And Calgary 1-0 lead over Dallas Stars. Over in NASCAR this weekend, the 8th, Darlington, South Carolina. And that covers baseball, basketball, and hockey. Over in the NHL
and
Russ, NASCAR. Did you want to talk a little bit about? Let's talk about the draft. We had.
So Joel, who did you think won? You know, if you had to pick up one team that you think did the best in the draft.
You probably don't want to hear this. Probably Baltimore.
Really?
So the Ravens, Jets, and the Eagles, I think, had the 3 best drafts.
Yeah.
Does that mean I should get excited
I'm
as a
not
Jets
saying
fan?
this because I'm biased with the Browns.
I'm about to mute your mic.
The Browns drafted a kicker. We got the best kicker in the draft. He makes the most.
The LSU guy?
He's the most influential pick in this draft. I mean, the best kicker. The LSU guy, he kicked in the fog game, 57-yarder. He's always hitting 50-yarders. And who's going to make the most impact right out of the gate the first year? The kicker. He's going to win and lose you games. You know, his first rookie year.
I got Dawson Deaton.
Dawson Deaton. Let's get some jerseys.
What's up, Dawson? He's going to make the team.
Yeah, I'm counting on him so we can get jerseys.
So we get him on the show.
Jerseys would be cheaper if he doesn't, right?
Yeah, I'm still getting them.
But yeah, we had Trevon Walker. I had him going to the Lions.
I had him going second to the Lions, but they swapped that up.
They swapped it up.
And it worked out better. And I was talking to Tom, I think, about this because he's from Detroit. But Aiden Hutchinson is from Michigan. And he went to Michigan, and he got drafted by the Lions. So he went. Yeah. It worked out good. He's a hometown boy.
He won't get a ring, but, he'll get paid.
He'll be in Detroit. But, yeah.
All right. But, yeah, we had him going to the Lions. We had Stingley going to the Texans. Ahmed Gardner to the Jets, a good player. Thibodeau to the Giants. Iguana to Carolina, that's an O-lineman. Evan Neal, another O-lineman to the Giants. Drake London, wide receiver to Atlanta. Charlie Cross to Seattle, it's another O-lineman. And Garrett Wilson, the stud wide receiver from Ohio State, going to the Jets. I had him and Olave. I could take either one.
Chris Olave went to the Saints, right?
Saints, yeah. 13 or 12.
Yeah. Yep. He's gonna have what's his name thrown to him, which I think's a pretty good quarterback. I think Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, yeah.
Roll with him.
I think he's a good quarterback. I think he just kind of needed to grow up a little bit. He does tend to throw picks, but different coaching scheme down there, and I think he.
Plus, he was with the Bridgewater Breeze kind of era. Like it's kind of difficult to find your seat if those guys are on both sides of you.
So, and also, I walked in here this morning and told Zach. Our producer, Zach Kern, on the show, I walked in and said, Zach, I could almost fast forward through the summer and skip to right to fall. I'm ready for football, man. I'm ready to go. Let's go. He thinks I'm nuts. But
so you like Milwaukee?
I thought that before today, but
Milwaukee and Phoenix from last year, like a repeat?
I like Dallas and I'm in the West in basketball.
Dallas?
Yeah, it's weird. I like Dallas.
See me after the show. We'll talk about some crickets.
Okay. All right.
Did you guys catch the MMA fight between Dave Chappelle's guy that ran on stage and his security team?
I wanted to bring that up, but you guys weren't really you didn't receive my Will Smith slap news very well. So.
I remember that.
That was. I saw that earlier. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, broken arm. He looked like he was
dislocated.
Like
yeah,
and then he got charged after he got beat up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
They took him behind that curtain and stomped him out.
Yeah, that's the wrong place to do it. I love how Chris Rock came out and said, "Is that Will Smith?"
Yeah.
Will Smith started all of this.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, he did. Seriously.
All right, so. Yep, that's sports.
There you have it, sports fans and
worldwide. Good job,
Kingpin Lock fans.
Do I got time for a regen question?
Yeah, you do. Let's go.
Okay, so I got a driver who just texted me right now. and he's asking me if my DPF indicator comes on, can I run 40 miles then regen? And I believe that's okay, right? As long as it's not saying that he's going to be in D-rate.
Well, if it derates, you're not going to be able to go 40.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I would try it and see if I could. Because what's he trying to do? Get down the road somewhere where he can do it?
Yeah. He's got about another hour before he needs to shut down anyway. So he's going to try to get about 35 miles down the road and shut down, and that was my advice. It just said just get to where you're going to go and perform a park regen.
Yeah.
And I think that should solve the problem.
And if he's going to park, be close to someone that can do a forced regen through the computer, because sometimes that'll clean it up too without having a big bill behind it.
Right. And get a truck stop that has a shop that can, for what, $100, they'll do a force regen for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I'm letting him know that right now.
Tell him to get close to a DPF alternatives, and if he hasn't, and he can get it, hasn't had that
Hey,
done,
Mike.
get it cleaned.
Yeah.
Mike, how's your truck running?
It's Stanley, so that's going to be your bill.
Oh no, that's a full service lease truck, so that's going to be the leasing company's bill.
Oh, okay, good. That's even better. Yeah,
So
okay.
good.
So I'm passing on the advice. Yeah, I think that as long as he's not getting a notice of D-rate, he should be fine to get to where he's got to go and just do a park regen.
Yeah.
Tell him to roll on, driver.
But good job giving you a heads up, though.
And
Preventative.
that's a
nice.
new truck. It doesn't even have. It has 100,000 miles on it, a little over that, I think.
Yeah.
So he'll be
brand
fine.
new truck, man. Yeah, he can derate 6 times before he gets into trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mike,
Sorry.
Christian was asking you how your truck's doing since you took it and got it cleaned at DPF Alternatives.
Yeah, well, originally I took it to get it clean, but it ended up they found a bunch of stuff that should have been caught a lot earlier, but wasn't. So I ended up with over an $11,000 bill.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now you're invested.
On John's truck, but my aftermarket warranty. So here, what happened was I took it in. They weren't signed up with the aftermarket warranty yet, but they had kind of got the process started already before I had even taken my truck in, and but it was still going to be a little while, and I didn't want to wait the however long it was going to take for the warranty company to prove it after they were all set up with the warranty place.
Yeah,
so I just went ahead.
That could take days.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah, probably would have took an extra week, to be realistic, before the warranty company approved it. So I said, well, I'll just try to get reimbursed, and went ahead, did it all, and then the DPF of Roanoke, they got certified through the warranty company, so they're certified through my aftermarket warranty company now, and Kelly worked with Lisa.
Lisa. Yep.
Over there, Lisa got Kelly all the stuff, and Kelly got it over to the warranty place, man. And the warranty place reimbursed me $8,000.
Wow,
Nice. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah,
It was the max on the after treatment system that they would reimburse anyway. So, which was about the cost of the warranty. So
Yeah. That's that's a
and
win.
the rest of the bunch of other stuff's covered. So,
and you got all that stuff taken care of. You got the DPF cleaned. And
Is it running better now?
Yeah, as far as I know, everything's been going good. I haven't figured out the fuel yet. Looked at the fuel close yet, but yeah. But,
thanks DPF Alternatives
where
in
at?
Roanoke.
Yeah.
So one Christian goes to, right, Christian?
Oh yeah.
That's the guy we met, right?
That's the guy James that walked in during the podcast.
He was actually at our Roanoke dinner. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, yes, he was.
He's the one
I'm invested in James.
Is Lisa his
A few
wife?
$100.
Is Lisa his wife? Because I think he was doing. all the work
essentially,
over
yes.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's great. She's she'll handle the desk, but she'll get her hands dirty too. It's it's good when you have everybody inside of the business knowledgeable of what's going on.
Yeah. And Joel had his cleaned out in Salt Lake, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And it's been doing great since, right, Joel?
It's running better.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
And my warranty is an aftermarket warranty too, man. And a lot of people knock them, but I've had that same one. That's the one I had on my other truck that replaced the turbo.
That's the Premium 2000, right?
Is it Premium 2000?
Yeah.
I've had great luck with them too.
With them is keep up on your maintenance, keep your records, and then when it's in the shop, just get everything they ask for. Like they want all the codes and and all that kind of stuff. But if you just have all that stuff and have your maintenance in place, since you've had the warranty, they just want to make sure you're taking care of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had
once. I had them on one truck, and I didn't have as much stuff like that you've had covered, Mike, but I remember one pretty good size repair. I don't remember the total amount, but it was thousands. And the only issue was it took 3 days to get it approved, which I was able to wait. So I waited, they got it approved, and then they covered it. And so that was my only experience.
Yeah, we had, I have Premium 2000. We brought it in for a warranty for a code. Something popped up. They said, oh, it might be this or not. They sent it back out. And we had like 800 miles left on the warranty. We had a 500,000 extended, and we just brought it in just under the bell. I mean, outside of an in-frame, everything else was done. I mean, motor was out, cylinder sleeves, everything was out of it, and they stood behind it all. But you're right. But Mr. Bill is the gentleman that drives the truck and always has, and he makes sure that his maintenance records, it's exactly at the interval or before. He keeps excellent shape of the truck. But yeah, if you do your part, I've know they've towed the line every time.
Yeah,
They have with me.
Well, that's good. So let's get on to some crickets and Kumar and drivers trucking questions with Kumar. So Kumar came from a public school job, I don't know, 7-8 months ago. And
now he has a CDL.
He has a CDL. And we do trucking questions with Kumar around here to see if he can outsmart the drivers. Kumar knows nothing about trucking except the last 8 months of being in the office.
I still know nothing about
He
trucking.
still knows nothing.
Okay, I get the questions out of a cereal box anyway.
So Ray, Kevin, and Nate, I'm sorry, Ray, Kevin, and Jim, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's
Guys,
ride.
I need you this week. So if you guys lose, I'm gonna have to eat crickets, and Mike's gonna have to pay $40 to the St. Christopher's Fund. And then if we raised it this week, Mike, just because I'm gonna have to eat crickets, you're gonna have to pay a little more.
Russ, you did watch the previous episodes where we kept volunteering your paycheck, right?
I know. and then also if Kumar loses, then we'll send the crickets to Roanoke. I'll have Carol ship them down there, and we'll put that on a show, and Christian will have to eat them and also pay $40.
Yeah,
Speaking of
and I'll smile while I'm eating them. No problem. Send them.
Well, they're sour cream and onion flavored, just so you know. And
They could be toilet paper flavored. I'm not going to let you get the satisfaction of watching me struggle.
Toilet paper
So,
flavor.
Joel,
These questions are from Carol.
trucking questions with Kumar. Here we go.
All right, question 1.
Carol questions with Kumar.
To correct a tractor drive wheel acceleration skid, you should A, counter steer, B, apply more power to the wheel, C, apply the brakes, D, stop accelerating and push in the clutch.
What was the question again?
To correct a tractor drive wheel acceleration skid, you should A, counter steer, B, apply more power to the wheel, C, apply the brakes, or D, stop accelerating and push in the clutch.
Stop accelerating and push in the clutch.
Kumar
Ray?
says D. What do y'all say?
I believe
Mackie,
he's right.
you agree, Mackie?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
Yeah, I agree. Too.
I agree, too. I think he's right. Is he right, Joel?
Ding, ding, ding.
He's,
Yeah.
he's right.
All right.
1-0 Kumar.
Get hungry, Russ.
right.
Get very hungry.
Question 2.
I'm starting to feel set up.
Which of the following is true about double clutching and shifting? A, use your tachometer and road speed to tell when you shift. B, double clutch only on slippery roads. C, if you miss a gear when upshifting, bring your vehicle to a stop. Or D, double clutching with a heavy load. That sucked. I probably have to say it again, huh?
Yeah, you lost
All
me
right,
on
which
clutch.
of the following is true about double clutching and shifting? A, use your tachometer and road speed to tell when you shift. B, double clutch only on slippery roads. C, if you miss a gear when upshifting, bring your vehicle to a stop. Or D, double clutch only with a heavy load.
What do you think, Kumar?
Basically, only one of those things is true. You just got to
Right.
guess.
What do you think it is, Kumar?
What was the first one again?
Use your tachometer and road speed to tell when you shift.
What was the second one?
Double clutch only on slippery roads.
And the third again?
If you miss a gear when upshifting, bring your vehicle to a stop.
And the fourth was heavy loads.
Or double clutch only with a heavy load.
What do you think, Kumar?
Double clutch only with a heavy load.
He says only with a heavy load, drivers. What do you think?
A. I'm gonna go with A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
I agree.
I thought that was too obvious.
Use your tack and your speed. I think I talked him out of that one because
You 100% did.
I did. He was gonna say A. I felt it, and so I
That's why
told.
you went
I'm
to
like,
B and C.
repeat the answers, Joel. I got him again.
You tricked him again, man.
When you watched the
one
video,
more.
as soon as you went to B, I started
I'm gonna be
smiling.
so
like,
mad at him working here.
You knew what I was doing. I totally got him to go down that road. All right, you got to be slick and get up early around here.
All right, Kumar.
All right, let's go.
Question 3. Use ABC fire extinguishers on A. Burning liquids and electrical fires. B. Wood and paper fires. C. Cloth fires. Or D. All the above.
Objection, relevance.
There's an ABC.
Johnny Depp's?
There is an ABC fire extinguisher on board. So the answers, Joel, were electrical,
Burning liquids and electrical fires.
wood and paper,
Wood and paper fires.
cloth,
Cloth fires.
or all of the above, Kumar.
Oh my gosh. These are. I want to.
Just say it if you want to.
D. D. We're going.
He
with
says D, all of the above, drivers. What do you say?
I agree.
Yeah, all the
I
above.
agree.
All right, Kumar.
No, I don't think.
Yeah. See, I don't. I feel like A doesn't belong.
I do too. I would say wood and paper,
Yeah.
but they agreed, so Kumar's going to get this one, right? If he gets
No,
it right.
nobody gets it.
No, if it was
If
right.
you got it right, yeah.
What's the answer, Joel?
What did you say? Cloth fires?
I said wood and paper.
Oh, no. They're all the above.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kumar
Well,
gets it.
Wow.
ABC is actually all that controls all different types of fires, both electrical,
Okay.
oil, and
Yeah, that's everything.
Well, I probably
it's
wouldn't
an
spray it on an electrical fire.
it's an
just
everything fire
because
extinguisher.
Doesn't seem
let
right.
it burn. Burn it down. All right, Joel, go.
Burn it down, huh? We'll figure it out later. We'll let the insurance get involved.
All right, question 4. Because this is what we do. In a double or triple combo, the what trailer should be directly behind the cab? A, the lightest. B, the heaviest. C, the smallest. Or D, it doesn't matter.
The heaviest.
The wiggle wagon. He says the heaviest should be right behind
Wiggle
the cab.
wagon.
What do you guys say?
It
The
doesn't matter.
lightest, the heaviest, or it doesn't matter?
The heaviest.
Are you sure, Jim? Wait,
Yeah.
what'd you say, Ray? How does this work? Because they disagree. We just have to get one right. Is that correct?
Everybody.
Let me
can't pick
guess which
a
one you're
different
gonna
answer,
pick.
though.
Before we would pick a driver to answer.
I'd say it doesn't matter.
Okay. Jim says the heaviest. What do you say? We'll go with 2 out of the 3. What do you say, Kevin?
I mean, I would say the heaviest.
Okay, so they got the heaviest.
I don't think it is. I think Ray's right. What is it?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
He's got a smirk.
It's the heaviest.
All right, Kumar got another one.
Yeah.
Wow.
3-1. I was wrong. Ray was wrong.
It's a good
Hey,
night.
room full of crickets. I can't hear him talking anymore.
I don't have a doubles and triples endorsement, so I guess I could be wrong. I accept that.
Well, apparently I don't either, because I didn't know. No, I don't.
I used to have.
I used to too, and I didn't renew it the last few times.
All right, so we need another question? Or is it 3-1?
It's 3-1. You done? Well, let's do the 5th one, but it looks like I'm eating crickets, right? We can't
sounds
catch up. Damn.
Oh, is he eating them
Oh,
tonight?
air horn.
We get to watch it tonight, right?
You
Yeah.
can't say damn on this
Yeah, I guess.
program.
You love oysters, man. Crickets are not a problem.
Yeah.
All right.
All
I
right.
think you could leave out the question. Let's just get this over with.
All right. The first recorded truck driving song was written by Ted Daffin. It was called Truck Driver Blues and released when? A, 1905, B, 1939, C, 1953, or D, 1982.
1982.
Say 82?
Yeah.
The first recorded truck driving song.
Oh, the first. Okay.
I was gonna say.
Hold on.
Hey, Russ, you doing all right over there, man?
You brought doubts.
I just
on
smelled
Look
it. It's pretty
Look like you're about to pass out.
doesn't smell like sour cream and
Was
chive.
there a 1932 answer in there?
1905, 1939, 1953,
Yeah, Russell can sell that sour cream and onion right now.
53.
Hey.
53 for sure, yeah.
1953.
53.
For sure. Jim remembers.
What is it?
All right, it's 39, Russ. I'll try to help you out.
Jim remembers back to 39.
Hey, Mackie, Kevin, and Ray, you guys owe me for this. You want to put it on one screen?
But let's
get a glimpse of this.
Let's really try to
I'll
find
buy you
out.
some
Are you
oysters,
gonna?
man.
Now I need you to pour them out and have one at a time and savor the flavor
Look
of
at
these
this.
puppies.
Oh, man.
No,
This is
no, no, no,
like
no
really,
chasers, no chasers,
I'll have to
no,
get Carol's-
absolutely not.
Russell, we're
I'll
going to
get some
send you
better
some
questions.
tortillas.
I'm
We're
just
gonna
gonna
send you some tortillas
listen.
from Texas.
Thank you. I'm just gonna down the whole thing.
No, 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 no. You
No
got to
one
at
at
least
a
The whole thing.
just put one in and just chew on it for a little
One
bit.
at a
But no
time,
I want
bro.
to
chase,
see this down the whole thing.
but there are no chasers
Do
involved.
the whole
here.
thing.
Like boiled
One time
peanuts.
for the one time.
There's
Boiled
one.
peanuts.
How's
Do
that
the
good,
rest.
right? I can. No, no, no
Do the
chaser.
rest.
Just smile. Your attitude determines your altitude. Remember?
Sour cream and
No, no,
onion.
no chaser. What are you
Coffee
doing?
and crickets.
What is that? Bourbon?
Yummy.
Wow.
Bourbon and
I think
crickets.
it's the smell that gets. You can smell it when you.
Can
They
you eat the rest
smell
of that
bad?
bag, please?
I'm gonna do the rest.
No
I'm just
way.
gonna go.
Okay,
I'm
here we
going.
go.
It is.
We're gonna
I
have
can't
a
wait.
vomit
Now,
on
no
this show.
chaser.
Get a
Just
bucket.
Crickets.
Irene's
Use that little
watching.
tiny CBR mug.
Save some for next week.
No.
All right.
Only
We
audio.
need a new desk after this
We
one.
need a nurse.
We need a new desk.
You're disgusting.
Bill Grills is pissed.
Why did you do that?
Oh,
I bet you his
man.
mouth's chalky right now.
Those
Oh,
taste
man,
exactly
I
like dirt.
Please vomit. It'll go viral. No pun intended. Oh,
Was that about redneck? Red,
You can't dare horn vomit.
Coffee,
my goodness.
crickets, sour
You
cream,
all right,
and
man?
onion.
boiled peanuts.
And crickets.
nice.
Go Browns.
All right.
Not a cook.
There it is.
Fried corn on the cob, Russ.
Mackie, Kevin, Ray, you wait till you come here. I got something for you.
Hey, I'm going to be coming with tortillas. Man.
Oh,
You
God,
gotta-
what is
you gotta
that?
Cut me some slack.
Wow,
Send in your questions.
that was awful. I had to do that a year ago.
Wasn't it like worms a year ago or something?
I think we both ate them, didn't we? A year ago. I had one, I think.
Was the lasagna better than the sour cream and onion?
Ugh, no, I don't know. I don't.
That,
They weren't
lasagna
so
cricket?
bad. I don't remember last year. It was like cardboard, but these, you could taste
we
a
need to
little.
get some teriyaki crickets next
In
time.
and out French
Yeah,
fries.
it tastes like
cardboard.
dirt. It's like eating dirt.
That's what I say. It's crazy.
All right. Well, the next episode of Naked and Afraid.
All right, take us out with some news there,
Oh, I thought that was the
Get
end
in
of the
the
show.
Kumar.
Matt, you did all that, and we still have a whole segment.
Yeah. Yeah. The most important.
Kumar, put
Start
together
the
some
music.
news. Let's go.
All right. With a little help from Christian, he sent me some things. We.
More outsmarted us.
That's why I had these
Can
cough
you guys
drops
see
here.
this? All good?
Luden's cherry cough drops. I knew.
All right.
Oh, I've been eating those
Say
like candy.
Luden's cherry cough drops. They don't really do anything for cough. They taste good.
They do taste good. The cherry ones. are
And they
good.
take away the cricket taste.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get serious here. So the FMCSA issues notice of intent to require speed limiters on heavy trucks. So on April 27th, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration issued a notice to move forward with a rulemaking to require the use of speed limiters for commercial motor vehicles. It doesn't specify a specific speed.
So it's basically there's no more wide open trucks. Is that what you're saying?
I guess, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of that. It's mainly used because it'll be a significant benefit on safety.
Sure.
The major factor in fatal car crashes is usually speed. So yeah, they're just looking to reduce.
It's also large carriers. That's the number. That's the number 2 indicators. Large carriers have the higher fatality rate.
Okay.
And most companies, honestly, this might be us for the super truckers out there that, but most carriers, first of all, your insurance doesn't want you going any faster than your tires are rated, which 75 mile an hour tires
75.
are pretty much everything that's out there, because anything over that's rated higher are very expensive. So,
All right, moving on. We got semiconductor fears chill Class 8 orders in April. So Class 8 truck orders fell to their lowest level in 7 months in April.
No, I'm on mute. Yeah.
No, you're not on mute.
No.
you're not on mute.
manufacturers wary about ongoing supply chain disruptions held off accepting bookings as they are worried over how many trucks they can deliver in 2013. Wow. 10 more years, 2023. So yeah, on a preliminary basis, truck makers accepted 15,400 to 15,800 new orders, according to the industry data trackers to ACT Research and FTR Transportation Intelligence. So yeah, they don't think that they're gonna have enough semiconductors to roll out trucks.
I think to build enough trucks, so they're gonna limit what they're building.
Yeah. If they're not confident that they're actually going to deliver the semiconductors, I'm not confident I want to buy that stock.
True.
There.
All right. Moving on.
Is it my cough drop? Is that why you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta get this cricket taste out of my mouth.
all these mouth sounds.
Have some more.
So we got the nation's biggest trucker blitz coming up in a couple of weeks.
Green hair.
Green hair.
What is that?
What? Scroll
back up. What is that?
That's her jacket.
Green jacket.
Green. God. Joel, you all right?
It's the crickets.
So, yeah, May 17th through the 19th, you could possibly expect at weigh and inspection stations to possibly get a road check. And what they're focusing on this year, I got a list right here. They're going to check for cracks or unseated locking rings, studs, or clamps. Check for bent, cracked, or broken.
Cracked, bent, or broken. That's what.
Hide your crack.
That's how you learn in truck driving school, Joel and I. That's how we learned our pre-trip and post-trip the inspection.
Was that right after you ran over the tire chalk, or was that?
Yeah, it was before. But
actually.
you just walk around, touch everything, and check and make sure it's not cracked, bent, or broken. And you would say it. The guy made us say it on every freaking part of the truck and trailer.
It worked.
Wasn't included.
It worked. It got in our head, and we passed.
You're still using it. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kumar.
Yeah, so check for bent, cracked, or broken rims on the inside and outside wheel rims. Check for loose, broken, missing, or damaged wheel fasteners and elongated stud holes. Check spoke wheels for cracks across spokes and in the web area or slippage in the clamp areas. Check the hub for lubricant leaks, missing caps, or plugs. Check the inner wheel seal for leaks. Check the tire and valve stem for leaks. Check for proper inflation, cuts, and bulges on all tires, including the inside tire on a dual set. Check for re-grooved tires on steering axle. Check tread wear and major tread groove depth. Inspect the sidewall for improper repairs, such as tire plugs. Check for exposed fabric or cord. Check for tire contact with any part of the vehicle. Check for markings on the tire that would exclude its use on a steering axle. And check for debris between the tires. And finally, check for tires touching one another or any part of the vehicle.
That is a good reminder. Thank you for that, Kumar. And do you know what any of those are?
Nope. Not at all.
What is that?
Oh, come on.
I get the bent, cracked, or broken. I can see that.
Let's get
Check
it
for
right.
proper
It's cracked,
inflation.
bent, or broken.
Cracked. I got to let CDL
Cracked,
know
bent,
about
or
this.
broken. Yeah. Kumar's still studying for his CDL.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
it's taken place in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., so you can run, but you can't hide.
It's everywhere, guys, and it might not just be the dates for the dates that he mentioned. A lot of times they'll do some before and some after that week. So just keep your equipment clean, keep it right, and then
Yeah, so
stay home. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
so then
Yeah, so you guys,
go ahead.
you guys didn't get that one video I sent you guys, did you? About the 18-wheeler that fell over the bridge over here in San Antonio
Yeah, I
last
did
week?
see that.
Oh, I didn't
you
see
did-
it.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It was hanging. Yeah, I think I did see that.
Well, we'll
Yeah, I
throw that
sent
one-
it to Ian. Yeah,
We'll put
I
that-
had sent it to Ian.
Oh, he probably Ian's out for a couple days. He'll be back tomorrow. But he
okay.
probably forgot to send it to Kumar.
Yeah.
We'll show it next week, Kumar.
Okay.
All right, so then we got Love's is opening a Minnesota truck stop with more than 100 truck parking spaces. It's going to be in Stearns County, Minnesota, 13,000 square foot store.
Well, they're doing that because you remember on the news when Ian said that they changed the law where you can't park for more than 2 hours in Minneapolis. Wasn't that where it was?
Yep.
I believe.
Yes, that was.
So
yes,
they gotta find more parking spots, I guess, for trucks.
Gotcha.
I wonder who got paid on that deal. Sorry.
Yeah.
So some of the amenities that'll be there, you'll get a Hardee's. It's opening May 9th. 102 truck parking spaces.
What's Carl's Jr.?
I heard Hardee's requires a 30-minute break that day.
It also 102 truck parking spaces, 9 diesel bays, 10 showers. That's pretty low amount of shower. I guess I've never really been to a truck stop, but 10 showers. I mean,
They put them in the same room.
If you go right in, it's team showers.
then we got laundry facilities, wow, air horn on that, cat scale. Speedco opening later, and a dog park for all you dog lovers out there.
Nice.
And I got a couple more.
Coom, I want you to go to a truck stop. You've never been to one, right?
I keep meaning to go on the way home, but I always forget because
we need to send him.
We need to send him, and he
for the show and
get
have
the full experience,
shower
and all.
He can go just interview drivers that are at the truck stop inside.
Ask them
God, that is great.
And let's send Carol with him to record it on her phone. So that would be great.
End up in the hospital.
That would be great. Let's work.
Your name's Kumar. How do you spell
look very
that?
Pissed off.
Can I bring up something?
Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll.
I was reading an article the other day about a truck stop being opened up in someplace in Georgia, and the city council agreed to it, except for no overnight parking, and no sleeping in your truck, and no idling. Now they have 200 parking spaces in this truck stop.
So it's just a 30-minute break truck stop. Is that?
Basically, what they're saying.
Do you remember what city it was in?
Oh, Conley or something like that.
Conley, Georgia.
But wouldn't that be a revenue thing? No sleeping, 200 spaces.
Yeah.
That
doesn't make any sense. But
it doesn't make any sense at all. Why would a person have a truck stop and put all the money into it, with 200 spaces, and not allow any overnight or sleeping in the park?
Who's going to come out there and enforce that every 30 minutes? Hey,
unless I don't know what's down there.
It's the city meeting, the council that did it, so the city will patrol it.
Maybe there's a bunch of big distribution centers in the area. I don't know, but that would be my guess. Where they got a lot of trucks delivering, so that are in and out, and they can't park on site. Maybe I don't know, but Kumar, maybe you could. Write that down and look it up and have Ian update us on that Conley, Georgia truck
I think
stop.
it was Conley.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, listen, guys, it's been fun. It's been great to be back.
Hey,
and
can I do one more?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to do this, but there was spilled nuggets.
Like chicken nuggets?
Yeah, on the PA
Those are
highway.
tender rejections.
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and
nice, Joe.
Tender rejections. That's great.
Tender rejection.
Oh, there was a delay, but
that
I
was
just got
perfect.
it.
I didn't get it either until.
Oh my god.
Many of them.
I had a question, and it's why did the chicken nugget cross the road? Because it got shot out of a truck. So there you go.
I like Joel's joke better.
That's the show.
So we went over tender rejections today and everything.
All right, and one more tiny little thing, and then we're done. I swear.
Okay.
Nate sent this to me. We were talking about electronic, cars with the batteries, like how to be more efficient as far as getting charged and everything. And apparently, electric cars in China have fully automatic battery swaps. So.
Well, didn't Henry mention that?
Yeah, he
He
did.
said it'd be a great way to do it. Yep.
Yeah, and apparently they got him over there. So, I mean,
giddy up! Look at you, Captain Research. I like it.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was Nate. Thank Nate for that.
Nate Garner.
Yep.
Nice.
We missed you tonight, Nate. So he's at home, but I'm sure he'll be on next week. And so from all of us here at your Talkin Truckin crew, Mike Doty in Tarpon Springs, Christian in Roanoke, Joel, our producer Zach Kern, the famous Kumar, Ray, Kevin, and Jim Mackey, and myself, have a great, safe week. Keep the shiny side up and go
Watch out
Browns.
for those
Go Indians.
tornado funnels.
Go Guardians. And go Cavaliers. Peace.
Burr, burr, burr.